So we're going to speak about marriage. This is the whole subject that we're going to be talking about, and
Yeah, we're going to speak about how to be in a successful marriage, which is nowadays everybody they think this is a mythical, or it's a theory, or this is unachievable, or it might be impossible. We're gonna show it off that it is possible. It's not mythical, it's reality, it's facts. But you just need to know where you're going, how you're going, if you are ready for marriage, if you want the marriage, if you are choosing the right person, if you are really understanding the marriage perspective from every side.
we could talk about how we first started talking. It was not just only lovey-dovey when we were talking. We were like, okay, how do we want to raise our kids? How do we want to live our life? So that's one of the big things that we were talking about when we were engaged.
Yeah, for sure. But first, we need to know that are we ready for marriage or not? This is the whole idea. This is the whole perspective. Because what if one of the couple, he knows from the beginning that he is ready for marriage, he's gonna make this relationship or this marriage is a good story, a successful story. But if both of them they get into marriage not because of marriage, it's only because of an attraction or a crush or a like story, but not a marriage, this is where everything start to falling apart, honestly.
Right.
There is a solution for it, but these solutions all the time for that kind of type of relationship is almost all the time unachievable and successful.
But we're not saying that you do, even with a successful marriage, there is supposed to be that lovey-dovey crush part. It's not.
Well, this is where it's come. Which person you have to choose. This is you, whether you were the male or the female. You have to choose the person that you want. This is at the beginning, and this is from the beginning. You have to understand what you want before you choose.
Mm-hmm.
But it just, because of hormonal action, okay, now I want to do marriage, or you get forced by situation because of a mistake you commit, or the other person commit a mistake that you find yourself, oh, now I'm committed by ethically to be married. This is where everything starts to falling apart again.
No, I feel like also when you're in that part of the engagement, it's supposed to be a secret. A lot of people now, when they are starting just to talk, they want to, I feel like now it's like more like I want to show off. Plus, because we're already put in our system that we're supposed to get married. So whenever you're in that process of talking, a lot of people just goes and says, "Look, we're talking," and there's nothing around. Then after that, a lot of people get involved in that, because we were talking for 2 years and nobody really knew about it. So whenever we announced that we are engaged and that after a month we're going to do a kitab, everybody came and they're like, hey.
Yeah, but because this is start to happen, because okay, now we're sure that we're going to get married, and this is the path, and this is the person that we want to live with.
That's why you're supposed to keep it a secret.
When this happened, my point, when this happened, this is where the announcement happened. And even when we were sure and we want to see the big wave of people trying to break down this kind of relationship from every side, from around.
What's funny is that he didn't talk with a lot of people. It's like, and I didn't have that much friends around me, and we both didn't have much friends or family talking with us. But whenever they knew that we're starting to talk, somehow everybody knew what our phone numbers was. Everybody knew how to start, hey, let me talk with you. It's like, oh, now you want to talk with me?
Yeah, let me talk with you so you don't do this marriage.
So
because I assume this is not right, and I assume that you're not ready, and I assume that person is not the right person.
And you don't want to... I have 3 kids, and somebody was telling me you're not ready for marriage. I'm like, excuse me?
This is, this is people, they're sick. people, they have their, I don't want to say sick, but it is.
Mentally sick.
You know, just to be honest, they're sick. But we want to polish it a little bit and try to say they have their issues, and maybe each one he will judge based on his own perspective, because I dislike that person, or I looked at him, I didn't like him. Again, we're just using the bad side of each other. That's why once we allow the bad side of us to control our words towards others, this is where the issues start to happen.
What is sad right now, a lot of people, it's, I don't want to say jealousy, but they are advising not in a good way, not in a positive way. A lot of people are advising in more of a negative way. Everybody's looking every time.
But they polish it as this is the good way. I'm just looking after, you know, I'm just looking after you, after you're feeling, I just care about you. That's why I'm advising. But you are advising me to do something that is going to destroy my life. Yeah, but this is the best for you. Oh, by the way, I'm not asking you to destroy your life, but this is your advice. Just like, you know, everybody, they have, you know, schizophrenia in their advice and their personality.
So the main point is that, we're going to use us. We're talking with each other. I'm not marrying his, you know, dad, uncle, whatever. He's not marrying. We're marrying each other. So we're the one that's supposed to talk with each other. We're the one that we're going to know that, oh, okay, I feel like I can be with you for the rest of my life. I don't need to talk with somebody else to know that I'm going to be with him for the rest of my life or not.
Yeah.
And we talk mostly. Our parents didn't even know what we were talking about. We were talking about real deep conversations of how we're going to live our life. Not just like, oh, I love you too, you're pretty, you're handsome too. It was more like, okay, look, one of the things, the first thing that we talked about.
We talked about the lifestyle that we want to adopt in our marriage life.
Yeah, because his first thing that says, hey, I want you not just in this life, in the afterlife too. And I'm like, how do we do that? And he was like, we're going to live a religious lifestyle. And with that beginning of that topic, that's how we started off. Okay, how are we going to live this religious lifestyle?
Yeah, we start explaining things and learning about, you know, our religion and trying to see how to adopt your religion in your life and if this is doable or not. And for sure, for me, from an early age, I've been having access to that kind of knowledge, so I learned how to, and it's really easy to, but you just need to learn to have knowledge to know how to. If you don't have the knowledge, how you want to speak about something you don't know and you want to go do it and live it? And you need to learn marriage. You need to learn marriage, because you cannot just say that I want to live. You will be lucky if you have a good, you know, parents and they live their life in a good way, and you learn from their way.
And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to really build our relationship also for our kids to see, okay, this is what a relationship is.
Yeah, because for me it doesn't make sense if you want to repeat your parents' mistakes in your own life. Doesn't mean you didn't learn nothing. If you're complaining about it specifically, if you complain about your parents' mistakes, so does mean automatically you're gonna learn how their successful marriage will be and how not to do this in your life. If you're gonna repeat this again in your life, does mean you didn't achieve nothing. You're following the same mistakes. And don't wait from your parents to say, oh yeah, we did this mistake. No. 99% of the parents, they will not tell you that they did this wrong. They commit this mistakes. They will not say it.
Yeah. For me, since I was a young age, I always thought about marriage, and I used to look around the adults around me. So not only just my parents that I saw this mistake, but a lot of other people is they're living separately. It's like, I have my life, you have your life, and whatever we have together, it'll be either in the bedroom, to put it frank, to put it as honest as it is. But so whenever me and him got together, a lot of people around was like, you guys are walking out together, you guys eat together, you guys cook together, you guys do everything together, like, don't be always together.
Yeah, the people, they start complaining that we are all together, and this is one of the good part from my parents that I achieved, because my parents, they lived, you know, everything almost together, And this is where it's come, this kind of, I say, sometimes you will get some goodness from your parents, sometimes it's your turn to differentiate between what was good to adopt and what it was bad to not adopt, because that doesn't make sense for you if you're going to follow everything like a
Right.
blindfolded person.
That's why you have your own mind, you have your own heart to follow, and you just kind of look and see. That's how I did when I was younger. I was like, okay, this is a mistake. This is how I want to be with my husband. This is how I'm not going to be with my husband. Because you see the people around you. Because there's a lot of couples around you when you're growing up. You have the uncles, the people who are the teachers. So that's my point of that.
Yeah, but this is the point. Once you have to be aware about what that means, marriage, and the responsibility and the commitment that you have to put in and the time that you have to put in. For example, you cannot just get married and just, it's almost like, okay, I get married and then I will be outside the house for like around 12 hours, and then you're gonna call yourself married.
Yeah.
And then if your wife, she start complaining, you're gonna consider yourself, okay, hey, you're a mom, I'm the man. This is not marriage life. This is mythical stories that never achieve to a successful life. And this is the destructive life that will cause to have bad members for these communities.
Yeah.
From whatever race, from whatever religion. We're supposed to know and learn the marriage language, because the marriage is just like an institution.
You have to learn the difference between, hey, I love this person, and also I'm in love with this person. You have to have both. Not like, okay, I love this person, let him live his own life, I live my own life, we have our kids. No, you have to also remember there's in love. You have to try to keep that and always remind each other. There's nothing wrong with kind of saying, hey, do you remember we promised we should go out to get today with the kids?
Yeah.
Remember, I need help a little bit in the kitchen.
If you're not gonna be able to accept the fact that your wife, she's gonna be able to advise you, and you're gonna allow her to advise you and take this as she's advising you as like a friend, you're not ready for marriage. And if she's the same thing, yeah, and if she's the same thing, she's not ready to allow an advice from her husband, and that he's trying to make their life, because this advice is gonna make their life good as him, that does mean both of them, they're not ready to be married. So I don't know what is pushing people to get married while they're not really able to speak the language of marriage. Because the language of marriage is a commitment and acceptance, and to understand each other and to be able to listen to each other. Because how I love someone if I'm not gonna be able to listen to him?
That's right. What you said about how you don't know why people are getting married, as I said, I sometimes would sit down and think about it. We grew up as the humans, as a community, not just only saying Muslims, but everybody is like, you have to have marriage. It's like this is put on this pedestal that is like, you have to get married at a certain age. So people are just like, okay, I'm going to get married because I have to, not because I want to.
Yeah, and without reflecting that for the marriage, there's a language. It's like almost like there's a language for the business industry, and each business industry has its own language, and you have to learn the keys of it to be successful in this business. This is the same thing. This is almost like a business. It's like an institution, because you need to take care of these people that they are living underneath your roof, and you need to build them up with a personality. It's not obeying you, by the way. And now I'm gonna be referring to the Muslim people. Do not raise your kids as like you are the God. Do not raise your kids like you are, I don't know, the creator of everything that they have. No. Raise your kids
To have their opinions.
To have their personality, to have their consciousness, to have their personality. Raise your kids to obey your creator. If you're Muslim and you believe in the creator, so you have to raise them to obey your creator, not to obey you like you are the creator. Right. Understand and differentiate, because you have to differentiate between this and that, because once you build them up on obeying your creator and their creator, and to respect you, and you respect them as, you know, allowing them to have their personality. And having their personality doesn't mean them not listening to you or you not listening to them, because this is a different, you know, totally different things. You cannot put them together. At that moment they will listen to you, because obeying the Creator is allow us to listen to each other. Otherwise, like, even if you look in our community, we're not obeying, you know, our Creator. So that's why there's disunity. We have to teach them the right way.
There's people are teaching the Islamic ways, but they're teaching it wrong, and it's making a lot of people confused about it. Also about, as I said, just marriage. It's like, just get married. That's it. They don't explain. They don't go in details.
Yeah,
and the
they don't,
about
because you know, whoever doesn't have it, how is gonna teach it again? This is why for me, you as now as a couple, or you as now as a person that you're adult and ready for marriage, or you feel that you want to get married, I advise you go learn
about yourself
the
first.
marriage language. For sure, what you said first is the right thing. Learn first about yourself, and after you discover yourself, because you don't need to discover yourself while you're married, because this is horrible.
Because when we were talking, so we can bring it back to that. He's like, he asked one of the things I got shocked about. He's like, "What do you do when you're upset?" And I'm just like, nobody ever asked me that question. What do I do when I'm upset? I said, well, I was taught to just kind of shut my mouth, walk away, ignore. And he's like, I don't like that. If I get upset, I want you to, when you
to
see
tell me.
No, when you, like, for example, he's like, whenever he's upset, he's like, what are you gonna do to me? I said, I'll give you your space. And he's like, no, I don't want that. I want you to come and comfort me and say what's wrong until I open up. And I'm just like, huh? Like, I never had anybody tell me that. And he's like, I said, when I'm upset, and then I learned his way of being. When I'm upset, I'm like, yeah, I do want to be comfort. Sit next to me until I open up, or ask me what's wrong. Because first I used to not want anybody to tell me what's wrong. It's just like, because I was taught to ignore, and I tried to erase what is bothering me. Or if somebody is upset, to give them their space. That was like one of the things that when we were talking for that 2 years and nobody knew, we were really trying to know each other. Because for me, I didn't know, know that. You have to know yourself. And whenever you know yourself, then you ask the other person, how about you? How do I deal with you?
You have to be aware about yourself. That's true. Because
I wasn't going to be surprised if he did not ask me that. If he did not ask me that when we were engaged, and then when we got married and I saw him upset, it would have been another problem. Alhamdulillah, it didn't happen, because he did ask me that question. If I saw him upset, I would be like, okay, I should give him his space. Which it was, we already had talked about that thing before, ahead of time. So I think that was one of the most important questions. Also, I advised my sisters and brothers whenever the conversation did happen, I said, listen, whenever you guys have somebody to talk to, ask them that question. It's a very important question whenever you guys are engaged.
Yeah, because the facts of justice in your life, if you want to be just and you want to be fair with your couple, you have to understand how they want you to deal with them. Now, how you want to deal with them. Again, this is a marriage language. It's practically is also part of our religion as being Muslim, because this is one of the advices that the brother, he has to love to his brother what he loves. So yes. in the definition of this particular hadith, you just need to know what he loves and to deal with him the way that he loves, not the way that you want him to deal with you. So if you want him to deal with you in such a way, okay, this is fair from his side to deal with you the way that you want, and from the fair way towards him that you're supposed to ask him how he wants you to deal with him, because this is the fair side. You don't deal with people how you look at things or your perspective about everything, because then this is gonna be stinginess, and this is selfish, and this is you are trying to impose your personality on everyone, and that doesn't work. This is against any teaching on earth. whether it was, you know, from a prophet or whether it was from, you know, a thinker. That doesn't make sense.
So we're going to end it right here, so it doesn't make it too long of a video.
Yeah, we could just make this as a portion, and then we'll speak more, dive in about, you know, how to deal with the contradiction that will happen after you announce, because you're gonna find a lot of contradiction is gonna happen. Suddenly, your parents, they want to be you. Suddenly, you know, the family members, they're gonna try to be you and advise you based on you. And then your friends, they're gonna even act, you know, like they know you and they want to act on your behalf. That, you know, too much. It's just, we're gonna try to help as much as we could to reflect
you're marrying
points.
him, he's gonna be your half. He's gonna be the other half. So, and I saw a lot of times why marriages don't work out is they bring outsiders. I'm not saying that you should not have advice, but advice is
If you
advice.
ask, but by the way, if you ask, why are you advising me? Did I ask you for advice? Yeah. Am I really struggling that bad that you need to advise me? Did I ask you for advice? You have to take a permission to advise. You have to have a permission from someone to advise. It's not you come in and jump, you know, and advise you without you understanding anything. What this advice?
Yeah.
This is a really advice or what? You're trying to be nosy because you're not able to understand? What's the case?
And there's other advice, because we had, like for example, my parents were trying to do advice.
I guess we have to stop because it has a low battery.
Yeah, okay, so we just end it right here then. And we talk about advice and what's the after marriage shock, or the announcement you said. So we'll do that after another video. So
for another video, we wish you to
day.
have the best, and how they say it, much of love and care, inshallah.